So hello everybody. I want to apologize for the delay in getting these slides out. I was really kind of busy at work, and a lot of things came up. But I'm going to make a video now. But when we meet Tuesday, we'll go over these again. Okay? So there shouldn't be any issues with regard to falling behind. Let me just put my headphones on here for a minute. All right. So. Getting knocked around here a little bit. All right. Anyway, so chapter 3 gets involved with organizing and setting up a business in different forms. So we'll kind of go over that a little bit, right? So we're going to talk about like limited liability corporations and the differences, and proprietorships, and partnerships, and what defines a regular corporation, and a lot of it has to do with taxes, right? The benefits, risk, and of course taxes. And then we're going to talk about patents and trade secrets. This is a big chapter and an important chapter, which is why I'll go over it in class in further detail. But for now, I just want to make you a video. So here's again trademarks and the differences between copyrights. An NDA and a confidential disclosure agreement, which some of you are going to do with me because you have an actual company going, right? So we'll go over that, not like a non-disclosure agreement, right? To protect your intellectual rights. And so we'll proceed in this format, all right? So here's the different types of business organizations: the sole proprietorship. And here is a general and limited partner. And there's two types of corporations: a C corp and an S corp. And we'll spend more or further time going over that. And of course, the more popular one today is a limited liability corporation. So this one you could do online rather simply. I think it's about $100 or something to form one. And let me go down here a little bit, and let's just see if I could find something on a limited liability corporation, just to show you. So if you go right here, right, limited liability company, and look how simple: form an LLC in 3 steps, right? And that's how over 1 million LLCs launched. You see how simple this all is? And this is a great site. You people should be aware of LegalZoom.com. It does a lot of legal things that you can do, and you can see the packages of what they cost. $79 plus filing fees. And it'll take you 5 to 10 minutes to form your LLC. And I've done that in the past, and it's a great thing. So you should think about that. Let me bring up the PowerPoint again. So here's the LLC, right? So, all right. So a proprietorship, which is usually someone who owns, one individual owns it, and he's liable for the venture's liabilities. And of course, he's got to have insurance, right? Because he don't want to take it out of his pocket. So if there's a little shoemaker or a pizzeria or a little coffee place, and it's owned by one guy, right? It's a little, or a bagel place, for instance, right? And you can see he's got unlimited liability, which is why he needs to have insurance. So, that's important to know. And I'm having a little problem here. All right, so that's important to know. All right, so there's a couple different types of partnerships, right? You could have the general partners and limited partners. So, as far as a sole proprietorship, again, there's only one owner, and he has limited liability, unlimited liability here. He's got to make sure he's got the insurance, as you know. So, a partnership is a business venture, right, owned by 2 or more individuals, and they could either be general partners or limited partners, right? And we'll talk more about that, right? And they're personally liable. The general partners are responsible for the liabilities. The limited partners are only responsible for the amount of investment they make, right? So, so the legal action against the joint liability, it has joint liability, and legal action treats all partners equally as a group, except for the limited partners. Okay, and they're referring here to the general partners. All right, so there's a term here, joint and several liability, and allows subsets of partners to be the object of legal action related to the partnership. And again, those subsets would normally be the general partners. So here's limited partnership, limits limited partner and here's what I was talking about, right? The limited partners, right, in a partnership to the amount of their equity capital, so they're not liable. In fact, let me see if I can highlight that so we make a point about that, right? And I'll save this if I can. It's good to know that. All right, so there's a general partners and there's limited partners, and again, they're only limited to their equity capital that they've put into the company. All right, and then we have corporations, and corporations are basically everyone should know they're a legal entity unto themselves. And obviously, if you're a shareholder, you're a partial owner, and you can't be sued if the company goes under, right? Like Enron. And it separates personal assets of the owners, like us, the shareholders, right, from the assets of the business. So you have obviously limited liability in a corporation. Creditors could come in if the company's going under, like Enron, and seize the corporation's assets, but have no recourse against the shareholders' personal assets, right? So as you saw with Tesla, Elon Musk was having all kinds of problems, right? And people were getting nervous about everyone's quitting from Tesla, and but obviously no one could touch me. The only thing I was concerned about was the fact that my stock was going down, and I was getting cranky about that. And to form a corporation, you've got to have a corporate charter, which is the legal document that basically establishes the corporation, and you have to have something like that for an LLC also, right? They're called articles of incorporation. Now, an S corporation basically provides limited liability for the shareholders, and I think you're not allowed to have more than 100 shareholders. I think it's in your book, right? Plus, corporate income is taxed like personal income to the shareholders, and I believe President Trump, the new tax plan, they were making life better for the people who were in S corporations. All right, and then of course here's the big one, as I mentioned, limited liability corporation, and whoops, I didn't mean to move that. And I'll highlight this because this is like real important stuff. So I'll make that red, and once again I will save it. And it's a business organization owned by members, again I think up to 100, with limited liability. Earnings are taxed again at your personal income tax rates of the members. When I've done this, and my taxes I was taxed at my personal rate, which is why I think Trump tried to lower that, right? As he lowered the corporate rate for corporations. I'm gonna get this moved back over here. I don't know. Yeah, so that's that. All right. So anyway, so it's important to know, as I said, about limited liability corporations, and again, you should be aware of like LegalZoom.com, right? And here it is again. Here's LegalZoom.com, and you can enter your preferred LLC name, and they'll check for availability, and you get started right away. And basically, when you want to compare the organizational forms, what you got to do is, look at the different aspects of each form, right? And how many owners, and the ease of startup. And in my opinion, your book has a different opinion than me, but basically, an LLC, as I showed you, is the most easy to start up. And how much liability, how much equity you have, how long, and of course, the life of the firm and how easy it is to liquefy the ownership, and of course the how much taxation you want to deal with. So these are all important aspects of a corporation. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll do this last slide because we're getting into about, again, over 10 minutes, and what I don't want to do is make these too long. I like to make these in bite-sized chunks, and I'll make a part 2 in a little while, all right? So basically, proprietorship, as you know, is one, and it takes a short amount of time, and the legal costs are not that high. A general partnership has 2 more owners, and it's really, a lot of them really don't take that long anymore, and there's some legal costs. And of course, you got a limited partnership, again, 1 or more general, and then there's the limited partners, as I said, who just invest. And again, it's just a little bit longer than a regular proprietorship and an LLC. All right, so I'll stop here because we're about almost 12 minutes into this now, and I will save this and make another part later. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, email me, and again, we'll go over this in class Wednesday. Okay, talk to you later.